Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
So we're in the sunny US of A, and you can see behind us, this is beautiful view. Unfortunately, either you get the view and us in the dark, or you get us in the light and the view whited out. So, because it's so hot outside of the underneath of this beautiful shade tree, that we're not going out in the sun, but we do like to be outside, as you know.
Well, I don't like the sun. Alright, it's Canto 4, Chapter 6, Text 45. First, before we start, apologies that we did miss Monday because we were travelling and we forgot. Well, we didn't forget, we were travelling.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to make it up. That's our vow. So we'll still get 3 in this week. So stay tuned for an extra episode one day. Is that possible?
I gotta check. It's my schedule.
Okay. Anyway, here we go. We're going to start reading. We can say the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, text 45. O most auspicious Lord, you have ordained the heavenly planets, the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, and the impersonal Brahman sphere as the respective destinations of the performers of auspicious activities. Similarly, for others who are miscreants, you have destined different kinds of hell, which are horrible and ghastly. Yet somehow it is found that their destinations are just the opposite. It is very difficult to ascertain the cause of this. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called the Supreme Will. It is by the Supreme Will that everything is happening. It is said, therefore, that not a blade of grass moves without the Supreme Will. Generally, it is prescribed that performers of pious activities are promoted to the higher planetary systems. Devotees are promoted to the Vaikunthas, or spiritual worlds, and the impersonal speculators are promoted to the impersonal Brahman effulgence. But it sometimes so happens that a miscreant like Ajamel is immediately promoted to the Vaikuntha loka simply by chanting the name of Narayan. Although, when Ajamel uttered this vibration, he intended to call his son Narayan, Lord Narayan took it seriously and immediately gave him promotion to Vaikuntha Loka, despite his background, which was full of sinful activities. Similarly, King Daksha was always engaged in the pious activities of performing sacrifices, yet simply because of creating a little misunderstanding with Lord Shiva, he was severely taken to task. It's true though, isn't it?
I love that, because that's an Englishism, isn't it? Severely taken to task.
Yeah.
It's definitely not. I mean, it sounds English. It doesn't sound American. Yeah, one is taken to task for what they have done.
The conclusion is therefore that the Supreme Will is the ultimate judgment. No one can argue upon this. A pure devotee therefore submits in all circumstances to the Supreme Will of the Lord, accepting it as all auspicious. Tate nukampam sumas Susamikshama Bunjalam Hiratmakritam Vipakam Vibhag Papurbi Vidadam Namaste Jiveto Yo Mukti Pade Sadaya Bhak. Bhagavatam 10:14-8. The purport of this verse is that when a devotee is in a calamitous condition, he takes it as a benediction of the Supreme Lord and takes responsibility himself for his past misdeeds. In such a condition, he offers still more devotional service and is not disturbed. One who lives in such a disposition of mind engaged in devotional service is the most eligible for promotion to the spiritual world.
Most eligible candidate, but yeah. Did yours say candidate?
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure.
In other words, such a devotee's claim for promotion to the spiritual world is assured in all circumstances. So, Daksha was rude to a devotee, which is Lord Shiva, and got his head cut
Not
off.
just any devotee, though, mind you. It was Lord Shiva, who we've heard repeatedly again and again is more or less non-different from Krishna, the Supreme Lord. But carry on, please. Sorry.
Thank you. I was getting there, but anyway, thank you for. Yeah. Anyway, Lord. And then at the same time, Ajamil Prabhupada says him, despite his sin, he was full of sinful activities, but actually that was post him actually being a good boy, good devotee. And what we understand is that the spiritual bank account gets frozen, but it doesn't get withdrawn. Meaning you cause, start to cause offences, this and that. Your spiritual credits are eternal. So Krishna might freeze the bank account because you're being offensive and sinful and you're straying away from the path, so you can't draw upon the credits of that account. But when you come to your senses, either through your own intelligence or Krishna gives you a slap, one or the other, you can then start from where you left off, because he unfreezes it, because he's the bank manager. So then he unfreezes it. So for Ajamil, his account was frozen for some time because he went off with the prostitute and had all sorts of children and whatnot. And then when he needed to call upon the credit and he called out Narayan, the account was unfrozen, and whatever credit he has got him back to Godhead like that.
Yeah, like that point, frozen, but maybe not bankrupted.
No, Krishna doesn't.
Bankrupt.
He's not like the modern fat cats, as they say in the banking world, or otherwise. You don't need anything anyway, so he just keeps it for you until you're ready and gives it back.
This term, the Supreme Will, it's a powerful point about how and why things happen. And Prabhupada said that the conclusion, therefore, is that the Supreme Will is the ultimate judgment. No one can argue upon this. So the Supreme Will means what will happen, whether we like it or not, and no matter how hard we try in a certain way. And our task, our goal as devotees or aspiring devotees is to recognize the absolute truth, which is that Krishna is the Supreme Will. He's behind anything that happens, especially to a devotee or someone who is favorably inclined to him. And therefore, whenever something happens, no matter how good or bad, we need to really just see, Krishna's hand in it, and make sure we try to see where is Krishna in the mix here in this situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Text 46, should we read? Excuse me. My dear Lord, devotees who have fully dedicated their lives unto your lotus feet certainly observe your presence as Paramatma in each and every being, and as such they do not differentiate between one living being and another. Such persons treat all living entities equally. They never become overwhelmed by anger like animals who can see nothing without differentiation. Vidyavinaya sampani brahmani gavi hasani shuni chaiva swapake cha pandita samadarshanaha. That, there's a hummingbird over there, Bill was saying. So, seeing with equal vision, what we've discussed many times, that they still discriminate between the bodily identities of each individual, the cow, the elephant, the brahmana, the dog eater, but they treat them each with respect because Krishna is residing in the heart. Anyway, let's see what the purport says. Okay. So the purport: when the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes angry or kills a demon, materially this may appear unfavorable, but spiritually it is a blissful blessing upon him. Therefore, pure devotees do not make any distinction between the Lord's anger and his blessings. They see both with reference to the Lord's behavior with others and themselves. A devotee does not find fault with the behavior of the Lord in any circumstances. Okay, interesting. So, first point, that when the Lord kills someone, it may seem negative for the person that gets killed, but actually they're greatly benefited, so it's not negative. Second point, pure devotees don't make any distinction between the Lord's anger and blessings. They see both with reference to the Lord's behavior with others and themselves. The devotee does not find fault with the behavior of the Lord in any circumstances. So that's the idea. Otherwise, something bad has happened to me. Why has this happened to me? God must have made a wrong judgment. I don't deserve this. But the other way is having absolute faith in the Lord and seeing that he doesn't make any wrong decision. Just because I may think it's not good or it's bad, something bad has happened to me, but the Lord doesn't make any mistakes. So that we have to have faith, and that's a high level of faith. There are no mistakes. Krishna is allowing to happen and acting what needs to happen for us perfectly. What do you think of that?
It's a bitter pill to swallow. But generally that which is good for you is.
Oh, yes. Neem, Corella, bitters, but good.
Kale.
What?
Kale.
Kale, okay, yeah. Alright.
Text 47. Persons who observe everything with differentiation, who are simply attached to fruitive activities, who are mean-minded, who are always pained to see the flourishing condition of others, and who thus give distress to them by putting harsh and piercing words, have already been killed by providence. Thus there is no need for them to be killed again by an exalted personality like you. Purport: persons who are materialistic and always engaged in fruitive activities for material profit cannot endure seeing the flourishing life of others. Except for a few persons in Krishna consciousness, the entire world is full of such envious persons who are perpetually full of anxieties because they are attached to the material body and are without self-realization. Since their hearts are always filled with anxiety, it is understood that they have already been killed by providence. Thus, Lord Shiva, as a self-realized Vaishnava, was advised not to kill Daksha. A Vaishnava is described as para dukkha dukhi, because although he's never distressed in any condition of life, he is distressed to see others in a distressed condition. Vaishnavas therefore should not try to kill by any action of the body or mind, but should try to revive the Krishna consciousness of others out of compassion for them. The Krishna consciousness movement has been started to deliver the envious persons of the world from the clutches of Maya. And even though devotees are sometimes put into trouble, they push on the Krishna consciousness movement in all tolerance. Lord Chaitanya advises Srinada Pisune Chenatarora Pisahishana Amani Amana Dena Ketanya Sadakari. One can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Shikshastakam 3. So it seems like the demigods are saying, which is quite funny actually, it's like the demigods are saying, look, she didn't need to kill him basically, because he chopped his head off. His head's chopped off, Dakshas. And the demigods have come there. It seemed that they've come there to appease Lord Shiva, because they did do wrong. They, as we've explained previously, they should have stopped it all and they went along with it and blah blah blah. But now I think they need to behave themselves, because you don't really go up to him and say, look, you really shouldn't have killed him, dude, you know. Providence would have taken care of that, because it just seems a bit funny. Like, I mean, just say what you need to say, which is sorry, and go away. Stop advising him because he cut your head off and all.
Okay, interesting. The Krishna conscious movement has been started to deliver the envious persons of the world from the clutches of Maya. And even though devotees are sometimes put in trouble, they push on the Krishna conscious movement. I like that statement, because it means that no matter what opposition, obstacles, challenges, tests come, we have to continue regardless and push on the Krishna consciousness movement. We may need to adapt, we may need to change, we may need to adjust, we may need to go deeper, so many different things, but we don't stop. We keep trying to give others the opportunity at this topmost process for emancipation from the material world. So last paragraph. A Vaishnava should follow the examples of such Vaishnavas as Haridas Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu, and also Lord Jesus Christ. There is no need to kill anyone who has already been killed, but it should be noted herewith that a Vaishnava should not tolerate the blasphemy of Vishnu or Vaishnavas, although he should tolerate personal insult to himself. Okay, so powerful point here at the end that although a Vaishnava is Paradukaduki, but what he doesn't tolerate is blasphemy of the Lord, and like that. But there's no need to kill anyone, but Vaishnava doesn't tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or his devotees, although he tolerates personal insult. So it's a very, you were saying bitter pill earlier, so this is one of those things that's first of all not so easily understandable for everyone, but second, applicable, how to apply it. That I just sit and listen to someone blaspheme me, but as soon as they say something about my wife, then I attack them and defend. But most people, they would sit and listen while they offend your wife, and then as soon as they say something about you, then you attack, right?
Yeah, and then your wife would attack you because you didn't do anything.
Yeah, there you go.
So double attack.
Double whammy. Okay. Anyway, back to reading. So it's nice to be reading again and sharing with all of you. Stay tuned as we continue our little tour around the U.S. and Please read the Srimad Bhagavatam, distribute Bhagavatam, share Bhagavatam, and don't forget to share,
like,
subscribe.
comment.
Hare Hare. Kanchara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.